to my parts installation ASMR video. Today we're going to be watching me apply the parts that I showed in my first video. So I'm beginning with an Allen key. I need to loosen the side bolts on the stem in order to take it off. I can't get the grip, obviously, that's why I'm getting this adjustable wrench out. These parts actually need to be quite tight because if they're not, the handlebars can turn from side to side independent of the wheel, or the handlebars can tilt backwards and forwards, and the top cap, which I'll be going on to next, if that's loose, the whole thing can wobble, or it can break because of this slack when you land out or something like that. I realize this is yet another BMX video that I'm putting up. I basically recorded quite a bit of footage when I began, so I'm trying to get through it all now. Yeah, so it was pretty tough to get off. I realized my hand's moving around this quickly on. Really, it's not really relaxing movements. So there it is, got it off finally. So now I've loosened the two side bolts and that top cap came off. Off come the handlebars with the stem still attached. So I'm putting my new stem on. So I'm going to have to remove the current one, which I'm doing now. Yes, like I was saying, I shot a lot of BMX stuff at the beginning when I first decided that I was going to go for it and start making these videos. So I'll get through that backlog, I'll post it all up, and then hopefully I can get onto doing some other stuff. There's 4 bolts in the top of this stem, and they clamp down onto the bars to stop them moving backwards and forwards. I never really planned to do any roleplay stuff. I just don't think I'd be very good at it, and I'd feel kind of silly doing it. I mean, I really enjoy watching them, but I don't know if I'd be able to do it, although I do have one idea. I'm sure it's been done before. So that one's off now. Well, now it's off. Pop. There we go. There is my free dance comp t-shirt doing the job that I had planned it to do, which is to remove oil and dirt from my fingers once I've repaired parts of my bike. So, good job t-shirt. Okay, back to what I was saying about roleplays. So, yeah, I mean, I did have an idea for one. I had it a while ago and I was going to suggest it to one of the people I'm subscribed to, but I never did. And now I'm thinking maybe I could give it a go. I'm not going to rule it out completely. I think what I'll do one day is I'll do like a little test shoot and see how I feel about it, and if I think it's okay, it doesn't seem like, if I feel like I've done a good job with it, it's not too terrible, then I'll go ahead and do a proper shoot of it. so I need to clamp this new stem into place and make sure that the knurling on the inside of the stem is making contact with the knurling on the bars, which it's pretty hard to miss, but if it's too far left or right then it won't be touching, and basically knurling is two rough spots, one on the inside of the stem and one on the outside of the bars where they make contact. So these two rough surfaced areas stop the bars from slipping once you're out and riding. So I'm tightening this up now, but I'm not going to do it up all the way because I'm going to need to adjust the angle of the bars once they're on my bike. So I'm just going to kind of lightly do them up before I put them back onto the bike and position them how I want them. Cool, okay, so time to put it back on. Boosh, easy money. There's the top cap. That horrible top cap that gives me so much trouble. I kind of lean off to the side in a moment because what you can't see that I'm doing is I'm trying to get the profile of the side profile of the bars there to be parallel to the profile of the forks. I don't know if you noticed that handsome man's face on my t-shirt. Yes, you're right, that is Kenny Powers from the HBO television series Eastbound and Down. I love the Kenny Powers character. I think he's amazing. I think he's so hilarious. Okay, so now I'm gonna fully tighten up these bolts, those 4 bolts on the top of the forks. When you tighten up the 4 bolts, you're supposed to do it in a cross pattern. So, for example, bottom left, top right, top left, bottom right. Next, I'm making sure the handlebars are straight by pinching the front wheel with my legs and then adjusting them and the bars so that they're straight. And then I can tighten up these 2 side bolts. They're the ones that stop the bars turning from left to right. I won't tighten those up all the way because they'll pinch the top cap too hard and then it'll be more difficult to tighten the top cap. So I'm going to gently tighten them, ever so gently, and then I'm going to work on the top cap with my adjustable spanner because it does not like to play nicely with me. So I'm going to have to get rough with it. So that's the stem complete. So here we have old stem and new stem. I'm gonna need my socket wrench set for this. I think I spent a little bit of money on this. I wanted a good one, and I know there's you can find some pretty cheap socket sets out there, but you really do get what you pay for. The internals will be junk, and if you try and apply any amount of real force onto anything, it'll just tear the insides up on the socket, and you'll have wasted your money. So I thought if I just spend a bit of money and get a good one, it'll last me. I don't think I'll ever need to buy another one, not So this next job is going to be changing the tires. If any of you watched my first video, you'll have seen that one of the things I got was a new tire. I'm going to take the tire from my front wheel on my bike and I'm going to put it onto my back wheel, and then I'm going to put my new tire that I bought and put it on the front wheel. The actual removal of the tires I'm going to do off camera because I've got to let the air out and that's going to be really noisy, and getting the tires off as well is kind of fussy and time consuming, so plus the video would be too long then. So I've got the front wheel off pretty easy, so I just need to do the back wheel next, which it's not so easy. I've got pegs on the back wheel for grinding, and then also I have hub guards that I mentioned in my bike check what they're for. They basically protect the wheel from impact damage. So, but having them on there makes taking the wheel off that more difficult, which I usually have to do quite often because I tend to get punctures from hitting my wheels on the edges of stairs when I jump upstairs and things like that. So, extra protection equals extra fuss and headaches. Now, to get these particular cranks off is going to be quite a bit of effort. Well, it normally would be quite a bit of effort, but thanks to this little tool that I've got that came with them, it's pretty easy. Basically, it's a big hunk of metal, and it has two settings. It has one setting to tighten the cranks and hold them together, and it also has another setting to get the cranks off. I need to take out this bolt. Basically, once you've bolted it all together using the special tool, you get an Allen bolt that comes with the cranks, and you tighten that into place just to make sure that once they are all snug and secure, they don't loosen over time. So I'm going to get that out now with my Allen key, and again, my best friend, my partner in crime, my adjustable wrench. It's time to bust out the awesome lump of metal tool in order to help me to get the cranks off the bike. I will need to hammer the tool. It's part of moving the cranks, so I need to whack it with a hammer a couple of times, which obviously I'm not going to do in an ASMR video. So I hammered the tool once it was in place, which basically it pushed the spindle out from the arm closest to me. So I hammered one arm, the sprocket and the spindle, away from the closest arm to me that you can see here. Yeah, that one little bolt needs to be really strong. Well, so that's the old sprocket off and the new sprocket on. The new sprocket's smaller. I believe my old one is 33 teeth and my new one is 28 teeth. I know it doesn't look a lot smaller, but the difference when riding will be very, very noticeable. So the new sprocket goes on the same way the old one came off. The chain will go on a lot easier than it came off because the sprocket's smaller now. But as a result, I'm going to have to use my chain breaking tool to remove a couple of links from the chain and then use the breaker tool to actually push the pins back together to get the chain back together again. I didn't record this. I probably should have. It makes some kind of like quite nice clicking sounds when you pop out the little pins from the chain. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, huh? I can begin to put the crank arm back onto the spindle. Now that the crank arms are in place, I can use my super duper special tool. All I need to do in order to switch it from a removal to an installation tool is just to slide a metal barrel over its existing barrel to increase the diameter so that when I tighten the screw thread into the spindle, the barrel of the tool will be too wide to pass through the hole in the crank arm, and instead it will sit on the rim, and as I screw it tighter, the crank arm will get pulled in closer to the spindle. So now that's all tightly together, I can remove the special tool with its incredibly long screw thread that just seems to keep going and going and going. And then it's time to put the Allen bolt in place that I mentioned earlier. And its job is to stop those cracks from coming loose once they're tight. So by this point, I've removed the chain link that I mentioned earlier. So the chain is nice and tense,